important for us to understand how our minds work, psychologically, why we think the way we think, and why we have certain triggers emotionally. A lot of us are the reasonings behind the way that we think could be so many things, like hereditary. It could just be passed down through genetics, or just the environments you grew up in, and the lack of love, and what you were exposed to in controlled environments, and even outside of controlled environments. But the reason why I'm doing this video is because I'm laying down, but I want to make sure that my message is clear. This has been on my spirit for a while, and I just cannot go to sleep without this message coming out of my spirit. I said that to say this. It's so important that we understand those things, because when we have children, our children battle the same things we do. And if you understand how the mind works, and psychologically, emotionally, why you're triggered in certain areas and patterns and things of that sort, you can better help them. And that's where the curse stops. That's where the enemy have no more territory, because now you know how to pray for your children, and you know how to really, really, whether it's therapy or, a life coach, whatever it is, or mentor, you know how to go about making sure that your child gets the necessary help in whatever area that they're battling. And a lot of times we go out here and we have these children, and because the foundation is so important, this is why God he made he made a foundation for us. It was like the blueprint for us as people, whether you believe in the Bible or not, to each his own. But that foundation is the blueprint for us to be able to create human beings, children that eventually grows into adults, so that they can have some balance, some structure. It's so important that we stop our young girls out here, young girls, the girls that's growing up, the young women, that we understand that you cannot create a life with everybody. You just cannot. Because you're really doing that child a disservice. Not only can you not create a life with anyone, but it's so important that we make sure that we're intentional in our interactions when we land down with people. It really does say a lot about yourself, depending on the person you choose to entertain and the person we choose to lay down with. It says a lot about us. It's an internal view of how you view yourself, and it's important that we push to make sure that we're being intentional and strategic in our interactions, so that we can start to change these narratives. We barely, and I say this because I'm a 32-year-old woman, and I honey, you cannot control. We all have a cross to bear, and you can't control everything that goes on in your children's lives. But you can control the things that you display. You can control the narratives that you show them, and the environments that you choose to put them in. and the things you expose them to. God has really, 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 this has really, really been in my spirit. We have to stop having these kids for the wrong reasons. We have to stop just laying down with people and having meaningless interactions and with people, and it's leading nowhere. Everything we do should be in purpose. And I just keep hearing that. I just keep hearing that purpose. I keep hearing purpose, man. A lot of us ain't where we should be because we're not operating at our fullest potential. Why? Why we're not operating at our fullest potential? Because our minds. You got to get your mind set on what you want. And once you get your mind set on what you want, you don't entertain nothing that's going to get in between that. And that's why a lot of us not operating at our fullest potential. We're cool with being comfortable. We're cool with being safe. We go back to disaster. We go back to those places where, we feel our weakest. And just because you feel weak, that don't mean anything. Some of my most weakest times, my most vulnerable times have made me strong. But this message is really for us to understand that having children is not a joke. It's just not. And those children become adults. Man, do y'all hear me? They become adults. And then you wonder why you see the world the way it is. Because there's so many broken children and adults that have not dealt with the pain, the hurt, of being abused, mishandled, mistreated, violated. Because we just be out here just doing anything without purpose, without intention, without including God. I ain't saying you got to be a saint. I ain't saying you got to live your life right. You're never going to do that in this body, on this earth. But what we can do is start to change the narrative. That's what we can do. Because if we don't, we're just going to keep repeating this cycle and keep repeating this cycle. We're just going to keep repeating it. I look back and, I've grown and I've got a lot more to grow. But God is so intentional in how he deal with us. And I look back at my experiences and the environments I was placed in, the things that I was exposed to, and he has been intentional in everything in my life. Has worked for my good, even when I didn't deserve it. So my mom always tell me I took those hits so you don't have to take them. And that's how I feel about my child. I am in a place spiritually where I know how to help minds. And I would do anything to help minds. Because I know the battles that I was going through at her age, searching for yourself. Caught up in the world, looking for love because there's, no father. But God. God can turn a mess to a message. He can turn a storm into a paradise. He can turn every wrong turn into the right turn. Because when you are operating in the right intentions, it don't matter how many times you turn right and he tell you to turn left. He's going to make sure you get back focused. Because when you have a will on this earth for you to do, when you have a purpose, you're going to always operate with its intention. Your spirit is going to move that way, even if you don't want to. Jesus had a purpose, and that was to die for us. And so I know, it's We live in a world where, we don't really hear this. You don't hear people talking about what's really, the real. This is the real. We have to start talking about these things so that we can start healing generationally, so that we can start doing better mentally. Don't y'all know that's how you manifest? And you know what? Let me just say this. Manifestation has nothing to do with I want y'all to understand that manifestation has everything to do with your mind. Your mind. A man is so he thinks. Your mind. And this is why it's so important. And this is one of the ways that the enemy attacks us. He attacks us in our minds because he knows the power of your mind. Your mind has the power to manifest anything you want on this earth. And I'm saying that because I'm speaking from experience. Yeah, I may not drive the hottest car, or I may not have every diamond and what. That's neither here. That's worldly. But I got wisdom. I'm anointed, and I know I am. And guess what? I operate in my fullest potential every day that I get up. I know that God has a purpose for me. And so my message to you guys is to make sure that you are operating in intention. That you're intentional with your interactions, that you're intentional in the moves that you're making, that you're intentional in your focus. And that means by any means necessary. That means if you have to cut people off, you have to do it. Being aware of what's going on around you is so important. We got to stop getting caught up in this world, man. Stop getting caught up in what you see, man. Walk by faith and not by sight. Because I'm telling you, you're going to get caught up every time. Some of the realest people, some of the most humblest people, some of, the richest spirits ain't rich in flesh. Y'all better wake up and get real. So that's my message. I'm done. I ain't going to be, I don't want to take up too much time. I just want to say that. I say that to my young girls, my young women. Understand when you having these children that this not a fashion bag. That's a human being that's going to grow up to be an adult.